Hello, Vortex. So somebody asked me recently why I'm always driving. I live in a suburb, and you have to drive to the places that you want to go. And I work a job. If you haven't seen me at my workplace, I work at Steak and Shake. I've worked there on and off for like 12 years. But I guess I do drive a lot. But I shoot videos when I drive because I feel like that's where I get the most inspired. And I think that you come up with pretty like brilliant stuff when you're alone, and you're in your element. And so that's mainly why I shoot these videos when I drive around. But I don't just drive. That's not all I do. But I like driving though. Like, even though I'm not very good at it, and I feel like I've gotten into enough accidents to prove that I'm not very good at it. But I wanted to talk about something that I think is really important. That part of our brain that fantasizes about things, whether like we fantasize about like our personal life going a certain way. For a lot of people, they have sexual fantasies. And I used to have this issue a lot because, as I've mentioned before, I'm like just in another world, and naturally, there's a lot of like sexual dysfunction that goes with that territory. And I don't know, I used to have like a really, really active fantasy life. Like, I would write down like all these like elaborate fantasies that I would have about these like imaginary people that were really just an extension of myself. It took me a long time to realize that. But I've noticed that since I started doing stand-up, like, I don't really have that anymore. And the only time that I ever like go into that world is when I'm like bored. And I'm always bored when I'm around other people. I don't really go into that when I'm by myself because I have too much to do. I have too much to think about. I have too much to talk to myself about, as you've seen. But yeah, ever since I started doing stand-up and this little YouTube thing, it's like I don't really have any time to devote to like fantasizing. And I know that's what I wanted to bring up because somebody that watched me do stand-up I guess maybe like 6 months ago, flaming homosexual, real sweet guy, his name's Demetri, and he worked at Cafe Coco where I was doing comedy, and he came up to me and he asked me how he could stop being gay. Because like, he knew I was a Christian. And that's a really cool story. And I'm really grateful that, you know, whatever energy I'm putting out has, you know, inspired people to come up to me and ask me questions like that. Because, yeah, I mean, if he had asked that question to, you know, anybody else, they probably would have laughed at him. And, you know, we live in a world that's, like, pretty much encouraging everyone to just give in to every last dark desire that they have. And, I don't think that you're bad if you're gay. I don't think that you're, like, making this choice to be sinful, you know? But there are a lot of things that factor into why somebody's gay. And when you have this whole culture that's, like, pretty much promoting it, then, yeah, like, more and more people are going to identify as gay. And less people are going to have an issue with it. I don't think that homophobia is the way to go. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't accomplish anything. So that doesn't mean, like, you know, just accept things that are bad or accept things that are, like, sick and demonic. But if a person isn't intending to be sick or demonic, it's just, like, something that they struggle with, I feel like people need to be a little bit more understanding about that. And, you know, everybody deals with their shit in a different way. But, you know, I told him that he should just keep reading the Bible and he should keep praying and not to worry about being gay, you know, not to think about it, not to, like, obsess about it, not to focus on it. And, you know, like, he reads the Bible every day, and he was saying that, like, he was just hoping that it would just, you know, fall away. But I don't think that gays are really ready for, like, the bigger picture answer to that, which is, like, if you're legitimately gay, you know, there's not really much you can do about that, you know? Like, I don't think that you could trick your brain into being attracted to somebody you're not attracted to. I mean, if that's the case, like for me, like, I'm grossed out by sex. Like, it just makes me want to throw up. But, like, I can't trick myself into being turned on when I'm not turned on. And so I think that's pretty fucked up that people would say, like, oh, just pray the gay away or whatever. Like, just don't give into it, and then it'll just go away. I don't think people are ready for, like, this idea of, like, you know, never having sex again or never, like, being in a relationship again. But I mean, that is, like, the solution that I would give. But it's like, yeah, most people don't want to just, you know, have a relationship with God. And, you know, I would say that most people would strive to have, like, you know, some kind of relationship with a loved one. But yeah, it's like, if you're engaging in, like, homosexual relations, it's just kind of like, I mean, I'm not going to say that, like, oh, you don't love that person that you're with, or, like, you know, your desire to be with them isn't real or whatever the fuck, because I don't think that's fair to say that. But at the same time, it's like, it is like, you know, a homosexual relationship. But, you know, I'm very careful about, like, how I go about this, due to the fact that, like, yeah, a lot of my fans are gay, and they don't want to identify that way because, you know, they don't want to be in any way associated with the LGBT community. But it's like, if you're like open about that, I think that it's good to be honest with yourself, and it's good to be honest with other people, but, you know, just like promoting it and talking about it all the time and everything, it's like that, it's just, I feel like we're kind of at this place in society where it's like everything is so shitty, and it's just getting shittier and shittier every second of the day. And so, like, celibacy just seems out of the question for a lot of people. It's not out of the question for me because, you know, I couldn't wait to say fuck society and just devote my life to God. But, you know, a lot of people don't want to do that. They're way more sexual than I am. But, you know, just in relation to my fantasy life, just in relation to, like, the way that I used to be, the way that I used to operate on a daily basis, you know, a lot of that stuff did fall away. And it's not because, like, I specifically prayed for that. It's because, like, I found other things to occupy my time. And so I think that gays, like, if they're legit gay, like, instead of worrying about that, they need to just concentrate their efforts on, you know, art and, you know, expressing themselves in other ways that don't involve their sexuality. And I think that that's the solution all around. So it's not just the solution for gays. I think that, like, that's the solution for me. That's the solution for, you know, people that are struggling with sex, people that are struggling with addictions, people that are struggling with, you know, being on social media too much. It's like, yeah, just make shit, dude. Make shit. And it doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if it's, like, worth a shit. You know? If it occupies your time and it keeps you from doing something else that's way worse, something that leads you down a really dark, sinister path, I would say that, yeah, it doesn't matter if it sucks. It doesn't matter if, you know, people don't appreciate it. Because it means something to you, you know? So, my mom texted me. She's having knee surgery. I wonder if that's something that I'm gonna need eventually. Because I injured both my knees in the car accident I was in a couple years ago. Because my knees hit the steering wheel when I was T-boned. And you don't have to tell me that it was probably due to the fact that I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. We already know that. We definitely already know that. But, yeah, so any kind of, like, addiction problem, any kind of deviancy, you know, if you're trying to get away from it, thinking about it all the time and trying to come up with ways to avoid it or whatever, like, I don't think that that's the way to go. I think that you have to find something that can not only replace it, but it actually means something more to you, you know? And I know for a fact that, like, my relationship with God is worth, you know, turning everything else away. Like, and if that seems selfish, like, those people just don't understand. And that's fine. Like, they don't have to understand. But just something I've noticed with various addictions that I've had to deal with. And, you know, especially with this part of my brain that is, like, actively fantasizing, you know, all throughout public school. That's what I did. And, you know, anytime that I was in a relationship, why? I know I probably seem really crazy because I just assume that any kind of aircraft is ominous, but it usually is. Okay. Anyway, I heard that earlier, and me and Paisley, that's my cat, me and Paisley were just looking at each other like, what the fuck? Because it sounded like it was right outside our fucking window. But anyway. Yeah, just finding stuff that's, like, more important to you than whatever you're trying to escape, whatever you're trying to get away from. That's really important. Like, because it's not enough to just, like, give that up. You know, if you think about it, if your identity is rested in this thing that you enjoy, or this thing that you think is, like, crucial to, like, your routine and whatever, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have a really, really difficult time giving that up. And it's like, you didn't just become this way overnight, so it's gonna be really hard for you to just, you know, snap your fingers and let go of it. So that's why you need to have some kind of game plan. But it's not enough to just, like, avoid it, or, you know, not be in certain places with certain people, you know? It's like, not only do you need to be, like, super headstrong, but you need to have something else to, like, occupy your time, something else to occupy your mind. And, you know, finding something else to get addicted to, you know, much like, you know, people that suggested vaping when I was in the process of quitting smoking, those people are fucking morons. And that's really dumb. Replacing one addiction for another is not the way to go. You got to replace it with something healthy, and that healthy thing should mean something to you, and it has to be personal. So that's why I suggest God. And I'll always suggest reading the Psalms, because the Psalms can relate to, like, any human experience that you're having. Whether you're in extreme sadness and despair, or you're just completely overjoyed and elated, or you're, you know, afraid, you're desperate, you feel, you know, really downtrodden and pathetic and useless. You know, that there is a psalm for every facet of human experience. So, you know, reading the Bible is always really helpful. But yeah, like, finding that personal relationship, like, once you develop that within yourself, like, it doesn't matter, like, how many people don't understand you. It doesn't matter how many people ridicule you or call you, you know, whatever they call you. Because, like, if you have a strong relationship with yourself, that means you got a strong relationship with God, whether you believe in him or not. So that's going to keep you afloat. But yeah, you have to work for what you want, you know? And the whole reason why, like, addictions and, like, you know, certain types of identity are, like, so tempting is because, you know, we're insecure and we're, like, trying to find, like, our place in this world. And it's easier to do that with demonic shit than it is, you know, anything positive for whatever reason. But, yeah. I just, I just never want to come across as like a homophobe or, you know, like I'm coming down on anybody for being gay or, you know, struggling with whatever they struggle with. I mean, you know my feelings on pornography. But, you know, it's like if you slip, if you do something that you keep telling yourself you're not going to do anymore, you know, that's fine. You know, that's what confession's for. But, you know, if you're not like Orthodox or Catholic, you know, you could confess that to yourself and to God and, you know, talk about it. Talk about it with other people that you know you can trust and rely upon. You know, iron sharpens iron, right? Iron sharpens iron. Right? Right?